Hey family, it is me. I'm back again. This is Kim. Kim Talks. Yes, well, we are discussing things that is going on in this thing called life, or sometimes just I'm being transparent about myself. But today is going to be a lot different. Some of the things that we have discussed, in the past or even just recent. Well, we got some commentators out there. Yes, we do. And these particular commentators are breaking it down and giving their opinion on the discussions that we've had, family. Yes, they are. So, what I want you to do is I want you to listen, really listen. Tell me what you think in the comments. Let me know if they are on point, you disagree, or maybe you agree with some of the things they're saying. Let me know in the comments. I can't wait to hear. All right, go ahead, take a listen.
Okay, so it's January 2026.
Here we are,
And if you're anything like me, you've probably got, what, 5 different screens open right now?
at least.
A to-do list that's a mile long, and just this nagging pressure to keep up, Look the part, spend the money.
The performance of being okay, it's exhausting, isn't it?
It is completely draining. But what if the secret to actually surviving this year, and I'm talking about, real happiness, not Instagram happiness, is to just stop.
Stop performing.
Stop performing. Stop caring. So today we're doing a deep dive into the world of Kimberly Lede and her channel, Kim Talks Unscripted. And I've got the transcripts here from her recent videos from early this year. And I have to say, this is not your standard polished self-help advice.
No, it's definitely not. And looking
Yeah.
at the source material, what strikes me is the timing. She's recording this right now in January 2026.
Right.
We're dealing with post-pandemic fatigue, inflation's still a huge conversation, and the job market. Well, as we'll see later, it's incredibly volatile.
So this is survival mode in real time.
Zigzag. Is this an abstract philosophy?
She calls it real talk. And her #1 rule is that surface talk is out. So our mission today is to kind of extract what I'm calling a manifesto of indifference.
I like that.
We're going to talk about boundaries. We are going to talk about some truly wild wedding stories.
Yeah.
You won't believe them. And this whole concept of unsubscribing.
And I think indifference is the right word, but we have to be careful with it, right? It's not apathy. It's strategic.
How so?
It's about resource allocation. Like, where are you spending your very limited energy?
Okay, so let's get into the first pillar of this manifesto. Kim talks about the We Do Not Care movement.
Right.
Now, she mentions this started with women in perimenopause or menopause, but she's basically arguing that it applies to pretty much anyone who is just fed up.
And the main battlefield for this.
Working from home.
This is such a fascinating sociological shift. I mean, we've spent years blurring the lines between home and office.
Yeah.
And Kim is essentially just drawing a hard line in the sand, or, maybe in the carpet of her home office. She's rejecting that whole professional aesthetic.
Oh, she's explicit about it. She says she goes into her home office and she's wearing a bonnet.
A bonnet while working.
A full bonnet.
Yeah.
A scarf. She says she looks like Tupac's sister. And she absolutely owns it. She's just like, I do not care.
There's actually a lot to unpack there about the corporate gaze.
This corporate gaze.
For decades, professional norms said you had to present yourself a certain way to be seen as productive. Kim is challenging that core assumption. She's saying, my output is professional, but my packaging, that's personal.
She really leans into it. She brings up pajama pants, boxers. She even calls out the jealousy from people who still have to commute.
Oh, yeah.
She's like, don't be mad at me because you have to go into the building and comb your hair.
It's hilarious.
But she uses this one specific example that I thought was just perfect. The news anchor story. Did you catch that?
Oh, the classic suit up top, party on the bottom scenario.
Yes. She talks about a news anchor who stood up during a broadcast and, oops, he's in his boxers with his suit and tie.
It's such a great visual. It just highlights the hypocrisy of the performance. We all know it's a performance. The anchor knows it. The viewers know it. Kim is just refusing to play along if the camera isn't on. But there is a bit of a dystopian element to her reasoning here, too. Did you notice the part about the monitoring?
Oh, that actually gave me the creeps. The screens and the timers tracking her every move.
Right. She mentioned screens that time every single call.
Yeah.
It suggests that while corporations are tightening their digital grip, monitoring keystrokes, timing breaks.
Workers are loosening their physical adherence to the rules.
It's a trade-off. You can watch my screen, but you can't make me do my hair.
It's like a tit-for-tat rebellion. But speaking of hair, this is where it gets really interesting and expensive. She goes on this whole rant about what she calls a bust down.
A bust down.
Yeah, I had to look this up, but she's talking about those ultra-long, really expensive hair extensions, the kind that go all the way down to your butt.
Right. The status symbol.
A very expensive status symbol. She's throwing numbers around $500, $600, up to $800.
Wow. In this economy.
In this economy. She's asking, how can anybody afford a bust down when they don't even have savings in the bank?
She's highlighting that conflict, isn't she, between looking wealthy and actually being secure. It's a classic economic trap. People are spending their emergency fund on their appearance.
But then she flips the script. She notes that this isn't just a female phenomenon anymore. She points out that men are getting bust downs too.
Wait, men?
Yes. She calls them man units, or man leaves. She says men are going to the barber to get toupees glued on to cover balding.
That is actually a great point about equality and vanity.
It cracked me up. She says men are laughing at women for their long ponytails, but meanwhile, they're sitting in the chair getting their unit installed.
It creates a level playing field of insecurity, doesn't it?
Totally.
But her core argument remains financial. She's asking, why are we performing this specific version of beauty if we're broke? It connects right back to that I don't care philosophy.
If you stop caring about the bust down, you suddenly have $800 for rent.
Or an emergency fund.
And that indifference, it extends to her social life, too. She talks about the pajama walk.
It's a pajama walk.
She walks her little Yorkie, Prissy, wearing these raggedy cotton pajama pants from, like, the 60s, and she just does not care if the neighbors judge her.
She compares herself to a neighbor she sees, a guy who walks around shirtless with a potbelly.
Exactly. Her logic is, if he doesn't care about exposing his reality to the world, why should she care about wearing a t-shirt and pajamas?
That's a reclamation of public space.
And my favorite line from this whole segment. She claims it costs her $45,000 a month to stay home.
That is a fascinating use of hyperbole.
Right. I mean, she's obviously joking about the literal cost, but she's making a point about the value of her piece. She says she has her garden, her music, her Stella Rosa Black Reserve. Why go out and pay $15 for a drink?
It's the homebody defense. The cost of leaving the house financially and energetically is just too high. By saying it costs $45,000 to stay home, she's implying her sanctuary is a luxury.
A luxury she doesn't need to leave.
She doesn't need the validation of a lounge or a club.
Which is a perfect segue to the next level of validation seeking, weddings.
Oh boy, the wedding industrial complex.
We have to talk about the money here, because it's easy to say, I don't care about what you wear to the home office. It's a lot harder when social pressure is creating a massive hole in your wallet.
Social obligation is the most expensive tax we pay.
It's a serious tax. So Kim discusses this video called The Nerve of Them. She brings on a guest, Taryn Williams.
Oh, Taryn 2.0.
Yes, I love that, Taryn 2.0. And they discuss wedding etiquette. And let me tell you, my jaw was on the floor with this first story.
Is this the ticketed event phenomenon?
It is so much worse than a ticket. So imagine this. You get an invite, beautiful cardstock.
Yeah.
You open it up, and it says that to attend, you need to pay $400.
Per couple?
No, per person.
Wow.
$400 a head to go to a wedding. Kim's reaction was visceral.
I can imagine.
She asks, who in the hell left the gate open? She literally asks if these people are mentally challenged.
It's harsh, but from a behavioral economics standpoint, she's spotting a massive violation of the social contract.
What do you mean?
A wedding is traditionally an act of hospitality. You invite people to share your joy. When you charge admission, you're turning a community event into a transaction. You're asking your friends to subsidize a lifestyle you can't afford.
That's the thing. Taryn, the guest, he makes this point perfectly. He's like, look, if your friends are all driving Bentleys and Aston Martins...
And $400 is just a Tuesday lunch.
Exactly. Know your audience. But if you're inviting normal, working-class people and asking for that, it's delusional.
It's main character syndrome. The couple thinks their day is so important that people should pay for the privilege of witnessing it.
Yeah. But Kim flips this. She contrasts it with the backyard couple.
I loved this part.
Couple. Number 2. Backyard wedding. The bride's dress. $42.
And the groom's suit was what, $100?
Yep. And the reception was just, hey, meet us at this restaurant, buy your own dinner, or something simple. And people called them cheap.
Of course they did, because they broke the script. But Kim defends them.
Well, she defends them with her whole chest. She says she'd be the first one there with bells on. But then she goes a step further. She brings up extreme cheapskates.
Oh, no, I know where this is going.
The tuna sandwich.
The tuna sandwiches.
She talks about a bride who bought a dress from a pawn shop that, and I'm sorry to say this, smelled like urine, but I just brushed it off. And they served tuna fish sandwiches at a reception in a gymnasium.
Okay, that's extreme, but I think I see your point.
Her point is, I respect the tuna sandwich more than I respect the $400 invoice.
Because the tuna sandwich is honest. It's maybe gross, but it's financially honest. The $400 invoice is a lie. It's performing wealth while begging for money.
It's better to be frugal and debt-free than to perform wealth for others. That's the mantra.
And that brings us to the most serious part of her deep dive. Because it's one thing to say, I don't care about hair or weddings. It is much, much harder when your livelihood is on the line.
I want to pivot here because so far we've been having fun with the bonnets and the bad weddings. But the source material takes a turn in the update unsubscribe video.
It really does. The tone shifts completely.
We established it's January 2026. Kim comes on and she drops a bomb. She was laid off. And not just her.
On the entire department.
Her whole department.
40 people and 600 in the company. Just gone.
She describes the timeline and it's terrifyingly fast. She logs in at 8 a.m., ready to work. By 9:14 a.m., no job.
That's the reality of the modern workforce. You're an employee at 8.59 and a statistic at 9.0.
And this is where the concept of unsubscribe moves from being a funny metaphor to like a survival strategy. She's not talking about Netflix anymore.
She's talking about relationships. When you lose your income, your bandwidth for emotional drainage just goes to zero. You have to audit your life.
She gets incredibly vulnerable here. She tells a story about struggling while she was out of work. She applied for food stamps, the Lone Star card, since she's in Texas, and got denied.
Which is a humbling process for anyone.
And then she's at the grocery store, runs into a neighbor, just a casual friend. She tells him she got laid off. He says, keep your head up.
Yeah.
She goes home, and her phone pings. He zelled her $160.
Wow. And that $160 meant everything in that moment.
It did. But here's the kicker. She contrasts that stranger's kindness with her own family. She says her own family members knew her situation and didn't even call to check on her.
And this is where the unsubscribed philosophy becomes painful but necessary. We're taught that blood is thicker than water.
Right.
But Kim is challenging that. She's saying, if you're only there for the party, but you disappear when the bills are due, I have to unsubscribe from you.
She says, you gotta love 'em from afar.
Which is a very healthy boundary. It's not about being nasty, it's about boundary setting. If you aren't here for the struggle, you don't get access to the success.
And speaking of success, she frames her new job search as an update. She didn't just sit in the spirit of defeat.
She unsubscribed from that mindset.
Exactly. She unsubscribed from the idea that she was too old. She mentions being 45 or 50 or overqualified. She updated her resume and her mindset.
And she got a new job before Christmas. Starts in March 2026, but she secured the bag. It's a validation of her resilience.
I also noticed she grounds this entire conversation in a very specific cultural moment. She talks about the NFL playoffs.
Yes, January 12, 2026. The Houston Texans versus the Pittsburgh Steelers.
It just grounds the real talk. It reminds you that life, football games, gardening, job hunting, it all continues amidst the chaos.
And she mentions liking the Steelers coach because he's a good-looking man.
I know. I thought that was such a funny, humanizing detail in the middle of this heavy topic of unemployment.
It really shows her personality.
Yeah.
She's a Texas girl rooting for the Texans, but, she appreciates the scenery on the other sideline.
So if we pull all of this together, the bonnets at work, the rejection of the $400 wedding fee, unsubscribing from toxic family, what are we actually looking at here?
We're looking at a philosophy of resource allocation. Kim is arguing that we have a limited amount of money, time, and emotional energy. And the world employers, society, even family is constantly trying to make withdrawals from those accounts.
And she's saying, close the account.
Or at least change the password. The I don't care movement isn't about apathy. She cares very much about her garden. She lists her tomatoes, basil, avocados. She cares about her faith. She cares about her peace.
She even mentions that with politics, too. She says she votes, she does her duty, but she doesn't care about the drama in the White House.
Right. Her source is not the president. Her source is her faith and her garden.
That's the politics of peace.
It is. By detaching from the macro-level drama she can't control, she reclaims control over the micro-level things she can control.
Like growing tomatoes or walking her dog in pajamas?
Precisely. It's about shrinking your world until it's manageable again.
So, as we wrap up this deep dive, I think the question she leaves us with is pretty profound for a channel called Kim Talks Unscripted.
It is. She challenges the listener to look at their own contact list. She says you probably have, what, 50 numbers in your phone of people you don't talk to?
Unsubscribe.
Delete the number.
Save the space. It's digital decluttering as a path to mental clarity.
It really is.
So here's the takeaway for you listening right now. It is 2026. The world is noisy. What do you need to unsubscribe from today? Is it a subscription service? Sure. But maybe it's a person. Maybe it's a fear.
Or maybe it's the expectation that you need to wear a suit in your own living room just because someone might send you a Zoom link.
Or that you need to spend $800 on hair to be worthy of being seen.
Exactly.
Absolutely. So here's a final provocative thought to chew on. If you stopped performing for an audience that isn't paying your bills, literally, the people judging your wedding, your hair, your career path, if you stopped performing for them, how much money, and more importantly, how much energy would you actually save by the end of the month?
My guess. Enough to afford the $45,000 cost of staying home.
That is a price tag I can get behind. That's our deep dive for today. Unsubscribe from the nonsense, update your mindset, and we will catch you on the next one.